I went my whole life not believing that hell was real. I said, I didn't want to believe in all that dark stuff, there's no hell.
I was a very angry kid. I lived a life where I wasn't afraid of anything, and if I was angry about it, you were gonna know it. I was vindictive. I did some really violent things to people.
But when I'm laying on my deathbed and knowing that I'm going to die, guess who I thought about? What if there is a heaven and a hell?
I just knew that I was going to hell.
And before I knew it, I fell off the couch onto the floor. It was pitch black dark.
The best way I can describe it, it was a darkness within a darkness.
My inner being, my spirit man, went perpendicular to my body, and I was like immediately ejected and transported, and I all of a sudden was thrust into a spiritual dimension.
And that night is as I would be laying there in bed. As I'm laying there in bed, I would begin to fade away. I would begin to fade away, and as I would fade away, I would begin to go down. Now, it was like darkness. It was so dark. It was like the very darkness just penetrated into your very, very being. And as I left, and I can tell you I left my body because I remember when I came back into my body.
And I looked into something I can only describe as blacker, an abyss that was blacker than black. This was eternal. This thing, the more I looked at it, the more it closed to where I was almost by this white portal.
It was very dark. Couldn't see anything at all. It seemed like forever.
And it earthquaked, and I look behind me, and I can hear screaming. It's all red and black. Turn around, get out of here. It sounded like people burning, people that were just burning, that couldn't find a cure or a fix to anything. It was just the worst. And I remember being afraid, gripping the steering wheel, and all of a sudden it was like back to my body in the trailer room.
And I began going down and down and down like a deep pit, and I started smelling the stench of hell. It's the most rottenest thing that you can ever smell in your life. In fact, you can't even imagine it.
Now there are people that talk about a light. There are people that talk about floating above. There are people that talk about a feeling of warmth and love. I didn't feel any of that. I felt none of that. I felt untold terror. Untold terror. Because I knew that if I ever went all the way, if I slipped all the way, I would never get back.
They was calling my name. Boy, say, we got you, we got you, we got you. You belong to us now. I saw souls, lost souls that was in torment in the lake of fire. They was crying and calling on God. They was hopeless. And I called on the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus. And soon I called on his name. I saw the hand of God snatch me out of hell, and my spirit went back into my body.
Now, believe me, that is the most horrifying, terrifying experience that I've ever encountered.
For whatever reason, I pushed the envelope that day. I wound up ODing and lost a heartbeat and everything for over 5 minutes. And I fell into a really bad place. What I experienced isn't what I've heard described. There was no white lights for me. I had this sensation of falling. There was the smell of sulfur. There was these loud, crunching, grinding sounds. I don't know if you want to say there were voices, but it sounded like screams and torment.
I was shaking and trembling, and I turned my head to the right. And they said I was dead. And they said that there was 30 to 35 minutes. But I know that was a loving God that loved me so much. God loved me so much. He loved me so much that he gives me a second chance. And I'm here to tell the story. Not a story, but the true testimony how awesome God is. And people will only listen and don't take God for granted.
For the first time in my life, a man that was totally self-sufficient, I relied on my own natural ability, my own strength. For the first time in my life, I called out to a God I didn't know, and never served. I just said, God, please help me. I'm sorry. Give me another chance.
I didn't know what was happening, and all of a sudden, I felt this like grab on my collar, and just yanked me. And that's when I came to. I know now it was only the Lord. It could have only been Him that pulled me out and showed me His mercy